The film begins with a chilling scene introducing us to two siblings, Isha and Thomas, inside their home. Isha stands covered in blood, her clothes stained red, while their father's lifeless body lies nearby, brutally murdered by Isha herself. Thomas, visibly shaken, confronts his sister, telling her that killing their father was unnecessary. Isha, however, defends her actions, stating she would go to any lengths to protect her brother. In the background, we see a family photo featuring Isha, Thomas, and their parents, a haunting reminder of what once was. Isha rushes to the kitchen to wash the blood off her hands, but as she glances into a mirror, she catches a glimpse of her father's ghostly figure staring back at her. Startled and terrified, she realizes the police will soon discover her father's death. Determined to escape, she grabs Thomas, puts him in a car, and they flee the scene. As they drive, Thomas, confused and anxious, asks Isha where they're headed. She tells him they're going to a safe place where no one can find them. Thomas, still grappling with the horror of their father's murder, insists that killing him wasn't the answer. He reveals that their father was toxic and abusive, often beating both siblings, but he believes there could have been other ways to escape his cruelty. Isha, unyielding, argues that she had no better option. Unconvinced and overwhelmed, Thomas suddenly jumps out of the moving car and bolts into a nearby jungle. Isha chases after him, but as night falls, she loses track of him in the dense forest. While searching for Thomas, Isha spots a mysterious woman carrying a bag, who vanishes behind a tree. Shocked by the woman's sudden disappearance and the eerie absence of her hair, Isha is startled by a noise behind her. Before she can react, the same woman attacks her, knocking her unconscious. In her unconscious state, Isha has a vivid vision of a painting. When she awakens, she finds herself still in the jungle. A distant light catches her attention, drawing her toward an old church. Peering through a window, she sees the same mysterious woman again. Desperate to find Thomas, Isha enters the church, where she discovers the very painting from her dream. As she explores the upper floor, she encounters another painting of a woman, but its significance remains unclear. Suddenly, a group of nuns surrounds her. Their leader, Sister Marga, demands to know who Isha is and why she's there. Isha explains that her name is Isha and she's searching for her brother, Thomas. Sister Marga promptly takes her to a room where Thomas is staying with other children. Isha is overjoyed to reunite with Thomas, but he remains distant, still believing her decision to kill their father was a grave mistake. Isha pleads with him to keep their secret, warning that revealing it could ruin everything. Sister Marga assigns Isha a room, informing her she can stay as long as needed. The room, she explains, once belonged to a former nun, and there are clothes in the closet Isha can use. When Isha asks about the room's previous occupant, Sister Marga vaguely mentions a sister who once lived there before leaving abruptly. That night, Thomas struggles to sleep, haunted by thoughts of his father. As he gazes at the ceiling, he notices a large, ominous hole above him. Terrified, he feels as though something is watching him from within. He begins to pray, but another child sleeping nearby mocks him, saying no one prays in this place and that it's unnecessary. Confused by the boy's words, Thomas tries to return to sleep, but through the hole, we see a terrifying creature staring down at him. Meanwhile, Isha overhears nuns whispering about her, mentioning that the church's mother has taken an interest in her arrival. They hint that if the mother were hungry, she would emerge. Disturbed by this cryptic conversation, Isha wonders who this mother is. Back at their home, the police discover their father's body and upon finding a family photo, deduce that Isha and Thomas are likely on the run. The investigation begins to track them down. The next morning, Isha and Thomas sit together in the church's cafeteria. Sister Marga checks on them and Isha, curious about the orphanage's operations, asks if the church funds their meals. Marga curtly replies that no church funding supports the orphanage. A troublesome boy named Prince P begins teasing Thomas, prompting Sister Marga to reprimand him. She explains to Isha that Prince P is a difficult child who hasn't been adopted due to his behavior. When Isha questions how the orphanage sustains itself without funds, Marga avoids answering. Later, while washing dishes, Isha notices a child playing with a stereoscope. When she looks through it, she's horrified to see her father's ghostly figure staring back at her. Shaken, she asks Sister Marga if she and Thomas can stay longer. explaining that their parents are gone and she hopes to find a family to adopt Thomas. Sister Marga agrees, allowing them to stay as long as needed, and assigns Sister Rebecca to give Isha a tour of the orphanage. During the tour, Isha notices an empty corridor with a locked door. Sister Rebecca explains that it belongs to Mother Mirasol, the church's most senior nun, who rarely leaves her room and is not to be disturbed. Meanwhile, Principe, wearing a mask, taunts other children by claiming to be Mother Mirasol, calling her a devil. The children chant a chilling rhyme about Mother Mirasol coming to eat their masks. While cleaning, Isha discovers a shotgun among the nuns' belongings. Sister Marga explains it's for protection against wild animals from the nearby jungle. That night, Principe continues to bully Thomas, warning him to beware of Mother Mirasol. Isha, determined to keep their secret, reminds Thomas not to tell anyone about their father's murder, warning that they could be expelled if the truth comes out. As she tries to sleep, Isha sees her father's ghostly figure in the darkness, only to realize it was a nightmare haunting her with guilt. The next morning, Thomas gazes at the mysterious painting of the woman. Hearing a noise, he enters a room and encounters Sister Regina, who shockingly has no hair. Sister Marga quickly intervenes, cutting Regina's hair and instructing Isha to clean up the mess. While cleaning, Isha hears a crash upstairs and discovers a broken statue. Sister Marga, furious, reveals it was a statue of Lilith, a significant figure, and punishes the nun responsible by forcing her to walk barefoot over the statue's shards, causing her immense pain. Later, a nun explains to Isha that the statue was of Lilith, a powerful female figure who chose her own path after being rejected by Adam. The nun claims Lilith's strength sustains the orphanage. Intrigued, Isha begins researching Lilith but is interrupted by noises outside. She sees Principe wearing a mask, daring Thomas to steal women's garments from the laundry room to prove his bravery. Thomas, eager to gain acceptance, agrees and heads to the basement. Meanwhile, Isha stares at the painting of Lilith and notices its eyes vanish, leaving her stunned. She hides as Sister Marga approaches, carrying an infant. Isha wonders why an orphanage would have a baby. In the basement, Thomas sees a monstrous hand with long claws and, as his candle goes out, encounters a terrifying creature. He screams, alerting the nuns, who line up the children and demand to know who sent Thomas downstairs. Principe admits it was his idea, and Sister Marga ominously declares that his time has come. The next morning, Isha asks Thomas what he saw, but he refuses to tell her, still angry about their father's death. Later in the corridor, Isha sees a nun feeding a child through a door that is quickly shut. In the cafeteria, Sister Marga announces that Principe has been adopted and will soon leave. While the children celebrate, a boy named Gabriel with a damaged eye appears tense. Sister Marga questions Thomas about the previous night, and he describes seeing a creepy woman with long arms and glowing eyes. To his surprise, Marga insists it was an angel they worship, assuring him it won't harm him. That evening, Isha touches the painting, revealing a secret door. Peering through a hole, she sees nuns taking Principe to meet Mother Mirasol before his adoption. Inside the room, Principe finds the bed empty, but something grabs his leg from below, and Lilith appears, dragging him away. Meanwhile, Gabriel pulls Isha through the secret door into a basement, warning her to stay silent but refusing to explain what's happening. The next morning, Isha reaffirms her commitment to protect Thomas, and he reluctantly accepts her. Sister Marga then reveals to Isha that she knows everything about her, showing her a photo of the nuns that includes Isha's mother, a former superior nun at the orphanage. Marga explains that Isha's mother left to raise her after growing attached to her as an orphan. Shocked, Isha learns she was brought to the orphanage for a purpose and that fate has brought her back. Marga reveals that the nuns worship Lilith, calling themselves the Lilim, who serve her to alleviate women's suffering. As Marga unveils her role as a supreme member, Isha grabs a candle holder and knocks her unconscious. Isha flees, hiding behind the painting as nuns discover Marga. She enters Mother Mirasol's room through the secret door and finds her lifeless body under the sheets. Spotting police officers approaching through the window, she tries to call for help, but a nun attacks and captures her. The police investigating the orphanage find only boys present with no girls in sight. A nun shoots one officer dead, but the other kills her in retaliation. The nuns then overpower the remaining officer, tying him up. The nuns, believing it's time to summon Lilith, take Isha and the officer to a basement where a well contains Lilith, inhabiting Mother Mirasol's body. She survives by consuming human flesh. The officer tells Thomas to hide and Lilith devours him. Isha, armed with the shotgun, enters the basement, finds Thomas and urges him to escape. As they flee, Lilith attacks, but they reach the upper level. Thomas grabs the gun and shoots Lilith in the head, seemingly stopping her. As they prepare to leave, Thomas insists on saving the other children. Isha tells him to stay put, but he hears a child scream and rushes upstairs. There he's horrified to see Isha consuming a child in front of Lilith's painting, revealing that Lilith's spirit has possessed her. The nuns bring another child before Isha, who smiles wickedly, fully under Lilith's control. The film concludes with the revelation that Isha was always an orphan, raised by a nun who left the orphanage to care for her. Fate brought Isha back to fulfill a dark purpose, allowing Lilith to possess her body and grow stronger by consuming a child. Isha's evil nature was evident from the start, as she killed her father without remorse, a truth Thomas always suspected, making him wary of trusting her. The story ends on this chilling note, leaving the audience with a sense of dread and mystery.